Welcome back to the news at 10. The Canadian government is seeking a stronger partnership with its Nigerian counterpart to reduce the burden of child marriage in the country. The Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Christopher Thornley, at a forum in Abuja, observed that there is growing international concerns about child marriage, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. He pledged the commitment of the Canadian government to assist Nigeria in the efforts at tackling the menace.
When the Child Rights Act was passed into law in 2003, many people celebrated it as a law that would finally put the issues of child marriage to rest because it puts the minimum age of marriage at 18. Almost 13 years after, the burden of child brides is still heavy in Nigeria, as statistics from the Canadian government reveals. This photo exhibition by the Canadian High Commission in Abuja is to highlight the global issues of child marriage and what can be done to end it. This teenager, who does not want her identity revealed, is a victim of child marriage in Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria. She dropped out of primary school at 12, the same year she was married out.
She said after she has finished enjoying the first year of her marriage, then problems started.
The Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria explains what his government is doing to help reduce cases of child brides in Nigeria.
In Africa, 2 in every 5 girls are married by the age of 18. In Nigeria, there are more child brides than in any other country in sub-Saharan Africa. Since October of 2013, Canada has invested over $80 million in targeted funding to prevent child early and forced marriage. In Nigeria, we're investing $3 million with Save the Children, and who are represented here tonight, and $3.5 million with the UNFPA.
For the Minister of Women Affairs, the problem is endemic in some states despite the existing federal laws that protect the child rights. She, however, assures of government's efforts to ensure that states domesticate laws that will protect the girl-child rights.
We are doing advocacy in all the states to domesticate them, because once it is a federal law, it's not applicable in the states until they are domesticated by the House of Assemblies of the states. So we are doing that, and we are doing advocacy visits too, and calling on traditional and religious leaders to stop harmful traditional practices which involve child marriage.
Statistics by the Canadian government reveals that over 15 million girls are married every year before they turn 18. Statistics that the Sustainable Development Goals hope to reduce by the year 2030.
Let's cross over now to our business studios where Anne Nwawodo is standing by with the day's business news. Thanks a lot, Harriet. Time to talk business now. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has complained about the high level of importation of substandard goods into the country. To this end, the Director, Compliance and Enforcement of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Engineer Bede Obayi, wants a proper structure that will ensure that goods coming into the country are not substandard. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Mr. Hassan Bello, believes the creation of signage as well as improved transportation will solve this problem.
Household electrical cables that are substandard coming into this country, and somebody declares it as agricultural equipment. How do you track it? How do you know what the content of that container? Please, what we are talking here is compliance to standards. Whether it is in the for the trucks carrying goods out of the port, or the road infrastructure, or the goods coming into this country, we are talking about compliance to standards.
Or creation of signage is one of the most important things. towards solving the problems at the ports, and of course the spillover, in the economy. Transportation, as you know, drives the economy. Unless we have that modern transportation, then the economy may not have vent for it to grow.
The Nigerian stock market closed the week in the red as stocks were weighed down by cautious investor sentiments ahead of the anticipated release of third-quarter corporate earnings. The week also saw the lowest volumes this year on Wednesday and on Friday. At the end of the sessions, the all-share index declined by 0.95% to 27,596.82. Volume fell by 41.98% to 674.72 million shares, worth 7.65 billion naira, and traded in 12,290 deals. Market breadth remained negative, with 16 gainers led by Caverton against 37 losers led by Cadbury. Law Union and ROC, ETI and Transcorp collectively accounted for 34.27% of total volume traded during the week. But analysts are expecting the market to reverse this negative trend next week on anticipated release of better than expected corporate earnings. Nigeria's local currency, the Naira, is expected to hold steady at the interbank and parallel markets next week. That's after the central bank sold around $313 million to clear a backlog of dollar demands from airlines and other firms. Traders believe this decision to license 20 more international money transfer operators will contribute to easing the forex scarcity going forward. At the end of Friday's trade, the local currency appreciated to 304 Naira 75 kobo at the interbank FX spot market. The Naira also strengthened to 450 to the greenback at the parallel market. Let's move to the interbank market now, where overnight rate fell to 11% on Friday after the central bank repaid mature treasury bills and cash meant for government's capital projects. Although on Tuesday, the lending rate hit a record high of 150%, 2 days after lenders placed funds with the central bank to participate in last week's currency forward auction. According to traders, the bank repaid about 138.7 billion naira in mature treasury bills on Thursday to boost liquidity. An unspecified amount of Naira was released on Friday. This was to help fund government's capital spending projects. And that ends business news for this week. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Anne Wawadu. Back to you, Harriet.
Thank you, Anne. Nigeria can only become less food import dependent when farmers in the country adopt the use of improved seeds for cultivation. This was a view of the Director General of the National Agricultural Seeds Council, Dr. Olusegun Ojo, at a meeting in Abuja. Dr. Ojo insists that while the nation is going through recession, farmers can leverage on its improved seeds to boost production, create jobs, and improve their income.
Nigeria is blessed with arable land that could help lift its people out of poverty. But how far its farming population has adopted improved seeds to boost their production remains a subject of debate. While the effects of economic recession have resulted in the loss of jobs, poor return of investment, and less activities in the socio-economic sector, agricultural experts believe that now is the time to embrace the use of high-quality seeds to improve the quality of agricultural produce by farmers.
Right now, the real challenge is that there isn't enough seed being produced, or the seed being produced is not of high quality. So now all is being done to change the way the seed is being produced and also create an environment that would stimulate investment by the potential seed entrepreneurs.
If the seed system has to perform well, the quality
the value for money for the farmers, the value for money that improved seed it shows for the processors, it has to, and for the consumers, there has to be value for money. And the value for money comes from the quality standards.
Another innovation the council is looking at is the cassava seed tracking system. This is the latest technology in checking the spread of fake cassava seeds.
Cassava tracker is actually a very, very important instrument for us to be able to see cassava and trace it from the beginning to the end. Is actually something that's going to look at the whole value chain. Information will be provided. We want to see the number of hectares that have been inspected. We want to see all the chain, and that's exactly one of the very, very important issues of cassava seed tracker.
While the gains of adopting the use of improved seedlings to the nation is said to be key in boosting food production and making Nigeria less import dependent, it remains to be seen if Nigerian farmers will key into this lofty idea in the interest of the nation's socio-economic development.
Every year, an estimated 124,000 children under the age of 5 die because of diarrhea, mainly due to unsafe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene. And this is according to UNICEF. This is why the wife of the Anambra State Governor, Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, has focused on issues related to water and sanitation in the state. For her effort in this regard, she has been honored by the European Union and UNICEF. In this hall are students and civil servants, community leaders, government representatives and development partners. They are gathered here to witness the crowning of Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano as Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Wash Ambassador by the European Union and UNICEF. The event is also part of this year's Global Hand Washing Day, and this gives the state the opportunity to present its roadmap on clean environment. The European ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Mitchell Arian and Mr. Sowando Anom, commend the relationship between the state government, the EU and the UNICEF, especially on hygiene and water infrastructure.
We congratulate Your Excellency for the far-reaching strides made particularly in the water sector with the passage of the State Water Bill into law last year, including the State Water Policy. Water supply and sanitation are absolutely central to improvements in health, and they are for improvements in education, in urban planning, in rural development.
To Her Excellency, accept our congratulations for the honor being bestowed on you as the WASH Ambassador. I can confidently tell you that the nation has fewer than 5 WASH ambassadors, and of course, you are the first in the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Please put your hands together for that.
Mrs. Obiano uses the opportunity to make a strong advocacy on hygiene and sanitation.
As a consequence, we are aware that the onus is on us to consistently work hard to guide our various families properly to a healthy society. Please rest assured that I am committed to spreading the gospel of clean and healthy Anambra to all nook and cranny, so as to promote the prevalence of good health among our people.
The state governor, Willie Obiano, also promises more funds, investment and sanitation sector reform programs towards water resources in the state.
Water supply and sanitation occupies a pride place in the programs of my administration. It is in recognition of this that my administration has made considerable investment into the water and sanitation sector in both the rural areas, small towns, and urban communities.
Keeping our hands clean is one of the most important steps that we can take to avoid getting sick and spreading germs to others, a point that has been well stressed here. Next on the news at 10, Spain's Enrique Lopez Perez and Switzerland's Connie Perrin emerged champions of the 2016 Lagos International Tennis Tournament. That's on Sports News. Please stay with us.